Rightio, so the ASX200 here, we obviously, as you can see, we're still in this corrective mode. It's basically recorrecting this particular trend here, but at the same time, we're on the 50k tick here, so this would be the bearish count as the A, the B, and the C wave up here for this. Currently, this particular move down is a little bit wonky, but it can be looked at as 5 waves, so we need to be a little bit mindful of that. This wave 2 here can still be in place here. It's not like it's sort of moving down quickly here in this case. It's kind of going, on a bit of an angle, which kind of tells me it's, more of a corrective move, but we still need to be a little bit careful. But we've been looking at the bearish count, and we put that on the top there, as it happened, and we've stayed there with it. It has been moving down. How do we count it? We go from 50k to 1k, where our bearish count normally hangs in there for that. So in this particular instance here, if we were looking, I'll just move this wave 3 here. If we're looking at this as 5C, 5 of C here of 2, then it's a little bit rickety, but we could view this as 1 to here. 1 to here is also good as well. Not that it matters, because wave 2 would still be here, so it doesn't matter what dance you do here. So this would be 1 and 2. This would be the third wave down here. I'm just ignoring the spike here, and that would be wave 4 here, and this would be wave 5 here. Now, as wave 5 here, this would, we've got a few little, this would be a little third wave here, so we'd still have maybe 1 or 2 to go in here, something like this. And if we just imagine that is 5 waves here, then we would be looking at some sort of ABC pattern here, maybe testing this resistance through here on that would be logical. And then we'd have another 5 waves down at that point. Now, it would be interesting to see how quickly this particular market moves at this point. Now, if I was totally wrong for a moment, right? If the market pushed up here and gave us a classic trading levels pattern on the 73.50, as I mentioned yesterday, if we got a classic trading levels pattern here, support on that level, well, then we would have to be long from that point, okay? So I can see that this needs to finish off here. And yeah, we'll take a closer look at this. But I'm just pointing out here, generally speaking, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we have to work the bearish count, and if we had to work it, this would be the best count for it, okay? And then we'd have the ABC pattern over here for wave 2, which would come back at the 50-60%, all of that sort of thing, and yeah, and then would move down here. Now, it would be how quick this moves down here. If it came down more of an angle, well, then we could view it to be the wave 4 that we're looking at. So we can go and have a look at the bullish count now for this. So on the bullish count, we'll go back to the 20k here for a moment, and the bullish count was basically looking at this as 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for this, and the 38.2% retracement from wave 2 to wave 3 here brings us back into this low here at the 7.2. So we've been aware of that situation. So just to get a little bit more clarity on detail on that, we'll go into the 5k tick area through here. So looking at the bullish count of wave 2 here with 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the third wave, the fourth wave here. Now, I've been looking at different ways to have the fourth wave. Now, this is the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree. It's also the 38.2%. So it's possible that it could come back down through to here. But as I mentioned, this is on quite an angle here, and it's very it's reluctant to come down here. That's the thing. So it's really sitting on that 7,300 here. Now, as I mentioned, looking at this move from the top here, it's possible for it to have a little sort of spike down in all of this, and then move up from that point. So is it possible to put wave 4 up here on this end here? Well, this is all a little bit messy here, and we know wave 4s get a little bit messy, so it is possible to have it here. But at the same time, I would need to see Am I seeing impulse waves here at the moment to the upside so we can go long? No, I'm not, so I can't, yeah, sure, we could think that's a low. I mean, we're waiting for Google's earnings coming out today. That's a bit of a large sort of stock in all of that, and they beat EPS by 9%, so that's possible. Just looking at what other earnings there are coming out. There's Meta on the 26th, there's Snap, Intel, and Amazon on the 27th, and Apple on the 4th. So you've got Apple and Microsoft, which is about 50% of that, that index there. So Apple's, pretty much the core of that index as such. So there's still a bit more to come out, but so as I mentioned this morning in one of the stock videos, the earnings don't seem too bad, apart from some of the smaller banks and that whole sector. So there's good reason to think that that we are in a correction here. Same with the because the wave 4 that we're looking at here is the wave 4 that we're looking at with the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. And then we're looking for one more move to the upside here. So yeah, to cut a long story short, I'm not quite sure the best way to count this here, but if we look at we need something to go long on, and I just don't see anything to go long on at the moment. So let's just go to the 100 here for this. We'll go back to the 1000, and this is how I looked at the 1000 with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. Yeah, there's problems with this. It overlaps here, but I'm not sure the best way to count. If we're looking for a low in here and then moving straight up from that point, then we'd probably have to look at this as some sort of A wave here, B wave here, and a C wave here for an A wave, and then a B wave, and then a C wave here. Yeah. So. And I'm not that worried about the spike, including that. So when if we have a look at the bullish count, we go to 100 in here. Let me just get in a bit more data with all of this as well. Coming in over here. So if we looked at this, it's like this, first of all, this wave 4 here, it's kind of like we're getting, if we had 5 waves up here, then I would put the wave 4 over here, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So I think they'll need to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or something in here. But even so, even this bit here, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. This would be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, or even 1 and 2. So I do think that this rally will peter out, and then we'll get either 1 more low or 2 more lows in here for this, and that will give us something like this here. And I'm not sure if we need to look at this being an A wave over here and like this 5 wave structure here. If that is even true, there's problems with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just to simplify it a little bit. Then we would have like an A and a B and a C wave back up into supply here, and then have another 5 waves down. Because when you think about it, if we're looking for wave 4 to pull back over to this previous wave 4 here, then this would be the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave down here. Do you know what I mean? So the A, B, C for this wave 4, and then we go up from that point. And when we come down here, this will be interesting here, because if we come down on more of an angle over here, then I'll know it will be a C wave of 4. If it comes down really quickly here, then it will be basically a 3rd wave here coming down. If it came down, if it gave us that 3rd wave, how this is the 3rd wave here. If it gave us that kind of move here, then we would know that that we're in that 3rd wave at that point, and would need to look at this as wave 1 over here. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and that bear market plays out even further at that point. So I don't have all the answers, and I know this in here can be viewed in different ways, so we'll just need to be a little bit careful. All I can say about going long is we'd need that 73.50 there. If for example, if this is actually an impulse wave up here, right, then we'll need 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here, and then we would need the A, the B, and the C. Now, if I saw that, then we'd go long here, and we could probably go long in this box here if we had, you know, 5 waves up here, but I don't have that yet. I can't put you long here just because we got a little move off the low here. I mean, we'd expect to bounce off 73 anyway, off number 3, the top of group 1. Would expect that anyway, you know. So I didn't really want to make any calls this week, really, in, you know, in the US stock market because of the earnings and because we're in a corrective pattern here for you know, for these markets and so on and so on. So yeah, it was a bit like the Nasdaq, you know. I mean, Google's earnings come out, so it has popped up here a little bit, but I was thinking that it needs to, you know, come down here, which would be a bit like in 3, 4s and 5s, a bit like Tesla coming down here as we looked at before. You know, that could still be over here and come back to this one. And so a little bit more to come in here for all of this. I don't have an impulse wave off the low here yet for this, you know. So I'm still looking for this to possibly come down. Now, if I'm totally wrong and all the earnings come out and it cuts everything short, you know, maybe we've got to get 5 waves out of this B to C here, and that would be the end of it at that point, you know. But I don't know that just yet. And I'd need the, as I mentioned, I need the 13,000 as a nice support, as a tested support, before we could go long at that point. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want to get trapped in any of this, you know. So, you know, and if we were going to go short in the bigger picture, well, then we would need all of this to come down, finish off here, retest here, and then drop at that point, and we can look at it coming down over here, or you know, there's other ways we can look at it. But we're basically in a traffic jam here at the moment, and I think that making a call in here would be just a little bit dangerous because it's not clear enough to go into. Yeah, you can see it's got good earnings, and we can see people are buying in all of this, and you know, and so on and so on. And you might feel that you're missing out on something, but I just don't think that's the case just yet. I don't think we have enough evidence to go on anything just yet, and I think that this will be the same here as well. So I'd be very careful about being long or short in this market at the moment for this. I don't think we need to do anything at this particular point in time. I think we're still going, there's more earnings to come out all of this week, and I think it's going to give us more choppiness. You know, they've got European earnings and US earnings coming out with all of this. So I just don't think that, I don't think I can call a trend in here to be long or short at this point. 73.50 over here, as you know, if it moved up here again, then we can go long at that point. But otherwise, I just think we're going to get more bouncing ball sort of stuff off these lows here, and yes, there will be support at the 73 here. Didn't give us anything over here, but because it was in a hurry of a third at that point, and I understand that. But it did come back and check it, do you know what I mean? And that's what it's doing now, it's checking it, and yeah, it can move up, but it's not there yet. So I'm just going to leave this to the side, and then this brings us into the banking side of the coin. So this is very much like the US here as well. So the US have been a little bit sort of softer on all of this. So this little rally that's going up here would be pretty much in line with Morgan's here as well. So with Morgan's here, we've got from the low here, we're looking up because it's a little bit cleaner to see here. So it gives us that 1 and 2 here and 3 to here. We're looking for wave 4 to come back here, and then wave 5 to move up here. Now, when it gets up here, it doesn't mean that we can look at it as wave 1 and coming back for wave 2 and bullish, but it can also be this A, B, and C over here for this. At the same time, we've got 5 waves down from the top here. This could be an A, B, and C here. So I don't know if it's going to stop at this point here. So we don't have anything yet. You know, if this came down here in 5 waves, well, then we can look at the ABC pattern going back up here, and then we can look to go short here at that point, you know. If that actually occurs, if this is left as an ABC here. But we need to see if it's going to be a wave 4 here and then a wave 5. So if it's going to come down for the wave 4 and then go up for the wave 5, which I think is pretty much on the cards, then that means that our banks will kind of do the same and then push up and then roll over at that point. So I don't see, I haven't seen anything here for ages, and I know there's nothing here, and there's still going to be nothing here. Even when it moves up here, we have to be cautious about that as well. And if it did move up here and turn into like wave 1 up here, well, then we'll catch it back as wave 2. But in the meantime, I'm concerned that this is all wave 1 and this is wave 2 coming back into here, so I don't want to get trapped in here either. So I know it's frustrating. There's nothing to, we can't trade the banks or the ASX200 at the moment, but I think that's okay in a way. It's better to be safe than sorry. When it comes to the resources, we are seeing the US dollar push up a little bit as well at the moment. Can I bring that up here at the moment? Let me just find that US dollar. I think it's kind of important, I think it's important because, the move down that we've seen in the stock market, in the indices and in the Australian as well, is partly because we've seen the US dollar push up here as well. Overnight, that quick move down, from the NASDAQ that we just had a bit of a look at coming down, we've seen the US dollar push up. So, that may be part of it all as well, but this US dollar pushing up here is something that I've been looking for, and we've been talking about this pattern off the low here in different ways. And yes, it can still be a B wave here. So we're seeing this push up here, so we should get something, something to match this leg over here, and we should see over here. So I think the US dollar's got further to push up here. How far it goes is kind of a little bit of a puzzle, because I have to say, originally we were looking at this as wave 1 here. We may have to do that, but the fact that the B wave is so big here and then the C wave here, it reminds me more of a B wave here. So an A and a B and a C wave up here for this. So I think that when this finishes up here, when this leg finishes here, then and starts to move down, if this is an A and a B and a C, because a wave 2 should be pretty simple and sharp, but it's not. It's this wave, the wave 2 here, or the wave B here more so, is bigger than the wave 1 here. So it looks like an A and a B and a C. Now, if we get 5 waves, we'll track the 5 waves up here when it's finished. If this comes down at this point, right, then we'll see the Australian market and the NASDAQ and all the rest of them push up at that point, right, while this is coming down, because this is looking like a B wave here. So we'll need to track that. But while this is still pushing up here, we'll be able to see pressure still placed on, commodities, and Australia is a commodity dollar country, so to speak. So yeah, pressure here on that. Now, this is China iron ore here. We're looking at it being wave 1 up here and then coming back for wave 2. It's at the 61.8%. That's okay. We can see that yesterday was a little bit shorter coming in here. We can see the stochastics, being quite deep here. We could see it push up from this point. I think China goes into their holiday week. I think it's a week, is it? Very shortly. I have to check on that. I'm not sure. I think they've got holidays coming this week, so that means that this exchange will be closed. So we could look at Singapore, but there's so many Chinese in Singapore as well. I wonder if they have that same holiday. I'm not sure. I have to double check on that as well. But they could go into holiday for a week here at this particular point, and that could be this lower volume coming into the market at this point. So it's going to be interesting to see here how this plays out. If this could also drop to the 78.6 here and still be wave 1 as well, technically speaking. So we could actually see the market down here. And I have to say that looking at the internal structure coming down here, looks like it will come down further. It doesn't look like an ABC at this point. The speed in which this is going here looks like a third wave here, as I mentioned yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, the 700 here is going to give support here. So 700 there, close enough. So obviously that's going to be coming deeper into supply here. We're going to see some support here. It'll be interesting to see how the stochastics works itself back up, if we get a nice clean bounce, or we're going to get something that's a little bit like this. It sort of makes a bit of an effort and then it does all of this here while the stochastics builds up and then it drops again at that point. So I think it's going to be something like that. So it looks more bearish than bullish. Okay, so we need to be careful about that, because that's really going to put, this is the bearish count here I've got. Okay, so looking at this as wave C up here, looking at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and a third wave here, and the fourth wave here will give time for those stochastics to build back up onto the upper side and then drop to the downside, and then 3, 4, 5 coming down here, coming further here. I could probably need to extend this out as well. So this could be a series of 1s and 2s in here as well. So I can extend it down further, but this would be the bearish count. Now, if this is true, we're going to be coming down here further, because it doesn't, I mean, it's just not finished. This is very simple here. This is 5 waves, correction. There'll be 5 waves in here. I could put this up here and have this as 1 and 2 in here as well. So I could bring this further down here. So I can extend it out. But whichever way I want to look at it, it does not seem to be an A wave, a B wave, and then a C wave here. The C wave can come down to here. So it looks like the holidays are going to chuck a spanner in the works. But we have to be very careful now that if this is going to be the case, if we go back to the weekly chart here, because this is going to affect, obviously, stocks. We've talked about this here being an A wave down here with an A, B, and C over here for the B wave, and then down for the C wave here. So this will be roughly the same length as this one over here. So that can bring us down to 400 here, which kind of makes this, we're either going to go into a whole triple waves of thirds and thirds here, but we might even look at, coming down for 1 here and 2 here and then 3 and then 4 and then 5 here. We could, the Feds want us to go into a recession, basically. They want to lift rates until we get into a recession to squash the interest rates. That's what they're planning to do, and they're kind of achieving that in their own little way. But the earnings for the US markets have been good, so it's propping up the markets. So we'll see how that plays out. But I mean, this move down here is possible, and the reason I want to show that is because this is how it would be with BHP, for example. So with BHP over here, this is a top over here. This could be viewed as an A wave here, and then an A wave here, a B wave here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the B wave, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the C of B here. And then we'd have to look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then building down for 1 and 2. And so basically coming down here further at this point. The thing is that I could still view this as bullish. Because we were looking at this being wave 4 here. And that's possible, and this would be wave 1 here, but it doesn't look like 5 waves here, and this could be the A, B, and C in here. So, but if this is low is breached here, then we've got a problem at that point. I think that it's likely to be breached, and if it breaches this, then we'll have to look at it like this here. There will be support, obviously, from the top to the bottom here at the 61.8%. So I think even at minimum, we've come down to, that's the 50% sitting on this top here. So 61.8% is a little bit lower there. So we could come back down to there, and the other side of the coin here would be putting this as wave 1 up here and copy this as wave 2 here. And we have to look at this as an A and a B and a C coming down here, but that doesn't really make much sense to me, because a wave 2 is normally a 5-wave structure, then a 3-wave structure, and then a 5-wave structure. So this here already doesn't, this is, I know from the US markets, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5 here. That's a 5-wave move. So as an A and a B and a C wave here. So for the A wave here, there would have to be an A, B, C for the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave here. But having a wave 2 with 3 waves in the first move here, it's possible, but it would probably more likely offer more of a bearish picture here for that, in that case, So if this is breach, which I think that it will be, we'll see how it goes. with a stronger US dollar that we've been expecting, you know, it's going to play out now as well. Yeah, you know, so iron ore's been down for 3 straight days, and so is BHP. I haven't had a chance to look at copper yet, but we'll do that later on in the video. So anyway, that's the bearish side for BHP, and it would be this. We've been looking at it with you know, the same with RIO as well. We've been looking at this as a top here for C of B, which would bring us down to here. And now that this is, you know, we've had this here as the A, the B, and the C wave here, but now this is taking out this low here. So we can, I did look at it this morning and think, well, can we look at this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave into this, into here, into 110 here? We can do that. So, but we'll just keep a bit of an eye on it, because if this comes down to here, there will be a bounce off here. We'll look at that bounce, anything under that bounce here, and then we know that we're coming down, taking this low out here. That's what we're up against. It's coming too deep really in here for a wave 4 at this point, you know, so I have to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. But I'll just leave that set up there. We'll just keep talking about this a little bit more for RIO, and FMG is a little bit sort of stronger, but FMG, that's the high. Taking this low out here won't be a good look. So, you know, do we need to short this here at this point? Well, we don't particularly want to short it until this 5 waves comes down here, which is not completed yet, and then we'll have a bounce at that point. So I'll just leave this, I'll leave this to be at this point, but certainly looking bearish. Now, let me just get my list here to see what we should be looking at in terms of different stocks and things. So we're going to have a, yeah, we're going to have a look at, I'm not going to have a look at that just yet. I'm going to have a look, not going to look at that just yet. We're going to have a look at, the gold and silver and so on. So this is silver here. We've been a bit like the stock market, really, the US stock market. We've been looking for a wave. We could look at the top as wave 3 or wave 1. I've been sort of preferring to look at it as wave 3 here, but in this case, this is quite a big correction here. So it's quite possible that it can be wave 2 here. Are we completed here? I'd have to say we're quite sort of, you know, if we look at this here as the first leg, and this is a corrective leg in 3 waves, then we could be on this one. This is being skewed at this level here for this. So it's a bit tricky to count unless I could go an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave over here, and put the B wave over here and put the C wave here. That's possible. If this top is taken out, that would be the case. But otherwise, I think that we just need to be prepared that there can be one more move down here. So I'll just stay with that at the moment. But we can go long above this top here for silver, just pointing that out. You know, because it's doing everything here as a classic trading levels pattern, the arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, some type of ABC that I'm sort of like scratching my head about. What is this? I haven't had time to ponder it. But at the same time, we would normally go long above here, then we'd go down to here, and then we can go down to here. I don't particularly want to go down to here just yet because of the US dollar being stronger, and yeah, I just don't really see that 5 wave structure coming into play just yet with this. So just clear a few things off. Okay, so let's have a look at gold. So yeah, we've been keeping a bit of an eye on the stochastics. It's kind of shaping up to like have a trigger for a long trade, but if you're going to have the long trade, you want to have that 2000 as the support at that point, and we are looking for another little move to the upside. Can we look at this as possible wave 1 over here? Well, like I said, the correction's too small for that, you know. So I'd be a little bit careful about this, and trading around the number here when you first arrive here, around any large number when you first arrive, is really dangerous, because you know you just get a lot of volatility. You get patterns, you know, big orders coming in at big numbers, and they could be on both sides of the market, and you end up getting a lot of highs and lows in there, you know. So I think that we're only sort of, we're not done with the 2000 yet. I mean, even if we did push up here, I still feel that we need to come back here again for this. But yeah, it's not quite ready for a long trade yet. If it's going to fail, it will fail at this number and drop from that point. So that's why you need to be a little bit careful at that point. So we've got Newcrest mining here as well. It's possible to put wave 5 top in here with wave 1 here. Having a look at this as 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here, and then the fourth and the fifth. So it is possible to have up here, but as a wave 2 here, it hasn't really even, you know, hasn't really come away from the trend line here, has it? You know, I suppose we could look at it as wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 at that point. But even so, if we were going, whichever way we were going to, and in fact, I think I'll just put that here for a moment, just as a possibility. I'll double check that. But even if we were going to go long here, I mean, I think it's fine to buy the stock at the, to buy this stock anywhere, right? But if you're looking to get better timing, there will be something like this here. You know, it's a bit like this one here, having this one, we take the top out here, we could probably take the top out here, all of those sort of things. So we can do the same over here, but I just see gold going up high, so it's not like a big deal, as long as you don't get leverage, as long as you're not using leverage with this. And this is NST here, so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then we're looking at going up for from wave 4 to wave 5 up here. So we're considering this being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and all the way up for the third wave and the fourth wave here. So we haven't actually pulled back to the 38.2%. Not that we have to, but you know, we could say that we do have like the A wave and some sort of B wave here. Does that look like a C wave? It doesn't look finished just yet. Do you know what I mean? You could go long above the 14. That would be okay. And if you're going to go long above the 14, that will take you to the 15, which is a nice trade, everything said and done. And that would be sort of, you know, length of wave 1. So it'll take you just above the 15, but get to the 15, that's fine. Yeah, a bit hard to count this. I mean, it looks like 5 waves here. I mean, there is overlap here for that. We'd have to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the A wave. We'd have to look at this as some sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the A, the B, and the C here. That would be better for the A, the B. I don't think we can call the B wave to here. We'd have to look at this as wave 1 and 2, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I think we still need to come down here a little bit further. I think 1330 would be sort of 1320 would be about right for this. A little bit of a guessing game within all of this, but definitely some sort of wave 4 here for that. So that's where we are for gold. And do we do the Australian dollar here? Yep, so we do the Australian dollar. We just talked about the US dollar pushing up here. So while that's pushing up here, we're going to see the Australian dollar push down. So we'll have to have that as wave B or wave 4 at the top here, and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2, and wave 3 coming into play here with wave 4, then 5, and so it's a little bit more for this to come down, unless, you know, unless I don't have this right here, and we're still in some sort of, you know, really corrective pattern here, which, you know, it's possible you can get like, you know, double zigzags and triple zigzags, and it can just go on in 3 waves across, you know, continuing to go sideways. So yeah, but I'm not going to call a trade here, but it does appear that with the US dollar pushing up, we should see further downside for this. Now we'll go over to the metals market. Just before we do that, well, I've got this one here, Pilbara here. So we can look at it as 1 and 2 now, and we can look at this as 1 and 2. And now we've got 5 waves moving up here, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th up here for wave 1, and then back for wave 2. So if you're thinking of getting into this, it'll be like, it'll be something like this. At that point, that will be the what to know. I have to leave the stop there, and I'll put the entry there, so I'll put the stop there. The bearish side to this, which I just also wanted to explain as well, if we looked at this here, let's just label this and look at the bearish side. What risks are we up here? So we could have this here as wave C up here. So this leg here, right, where this leg going up here. Here. So we could end up from this B wave. B wave is this one here, right? So we could look at this first move up here as wave 1 and 2, as we've got here 1 and 2. We could look at this as the third wave and the fourth wave. And yes, there will be overlap coming into play here, and then we'll have this fifth wave here. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's basically will be diminishing. Each leg will be shorter. The third wave is going to, this being the third wave here, is going to be shorter than wave 1, and then the fifth wave is going to be shorter as well. This is the 61.8% at 450. So that's where that can play out as I'll just remove these here, but put that there. That makes a bit more sense. So so that would be the risk. That could be this could be a corrective rally going to the 450, just to let you know that. We'll check on it in due course, but in the meantime, we probably won't finish here with 1, 2, and 3 here. It won't be like that because we'll need 5 waves. So it's possible that we're in a bull market, but I just wanted to point out what the bearish count would be and so on, and we can add to the position as well in all of this. So that would be that, but let's go and have a look at the what's the name. So this is, I thought we'd just have a quick update on look at this. This is, I mean, we look at a couple of Chinese markets. This is the comp here, and this is a monthly chart, and it's looking at this as an A and a B and a C and 3 waves for the D wave here and the E wave here. Now, I could put the E wave in here like that, but you would probably think that's a little bit short at that point, but it's kind of okay too, because it's pulled back from the bottom to the top here. It's pulled back to the 50-60%. But we'll just leave this over here at the moment. Yeah, but it's possible that could be in here. That's the low here for this. So we need to talk about this here a little bit, because yeah, that's the top there. We can look at this as an A and a B and a C wave here for the E wave. But this could play out a little bit more. We could look at the upside here as wave 1 here and 2 here, and then wave 1 here, pulling back for wave 2 and then going higher at that point. So we can go long above the top here, so to speak. All right, but at the same time, we need to kind of look at this probably getting just a little bit bigger here. So we just need to kind of understand that we're basically, with the triangle pattern, we're close to the end of it. So I do see that China will have at some point going up, take that top out here for wave 5. So if that's going to have that growth there, then it's likely that our stock market and Europe and everything else will be a bit like that as well. Let's just go and have a look at this on maybe the daily chart, that little area here, and I'll just point that out to us here. We've been looking at it here. So that's the D wave up here that we just talked about. It's possible to put the E wave here and look at that as wave 1, and then wave 2 here, and we've got 5 waves up here. So we're looking for those 5 waves up here. So I don't know where we need to put, because this could just be the A wave, the B wave, and down here. So basically, how can I configure that again? The A, the B, and the C, yeah. So it can be to here for the E wave, and then we go up from that point. Now, can it go up from this point here? Well, yeah, it can do at this point too. So what we just need to do is just, we're just shooting the breeze here, keeping an eye on it really. So from here, we can look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So in this particular instance here, we can look at this here as the A wave, the B wave and the C wave coming back 50-60% and then moving up from that point. So we will keep a bit of an eye on that, because if that's going to be strong there, then, you know, take that B wave out as the top there, then, you know, because this can be looked at as 5 waves down to here, as the A wave, the B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I suppose I could tighten that up again and get 5 out of that too. But yeah, anyway, we're just going to keep a bit of an eye on this, because if this is going to be in a bull run here, then we need to know about that, don't we? You know, not that we trade this, but if we know that China's coming out of a, you know, very long triangle pattern here for the comp, then that's good to know. So this move down through here could be, you know, this is very real as well, and this will take the S&P and the Nasdaq and all of those lower as well, and create that sort of bear market that that the Feds want. You know, they're not giving up. So yeah, so anyway, just interesting to see that work itself into a corner anyway. Okay, so what we want to do now is go to, I haven't seen, not commodities, I want to go to copper stocks. I want to, okay, copper held its ground, but came lower, of course. So that really brings in a situation here now, doesn't it? It's, so we can count this down here as 5 waves now that it's taken that, well, has it taken that low out? Close enough anyway. But so we can count 5 waves down here. Anything below that 5 waves, and then we've got out, then we know that, you know, if we get 5 waves down here, we're going to get a rally, and then we can come down at that point. So then that's going to destroy our little 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 area. We can take it here to the max, you know, but if it breaches this here as some sort of A wave, A, B, C for the B wave, and then 5 waves down here, we'll get, after 5 waves here, we're going to get a bounce back up here. And if it takes that low out here, then we're going to take that low out. It's as simple as that. So this move down here could be the Chinese comp index having one more low to take that, you know, that other move out to down to wave E here. So yeah, I mean, this is what we're looking at. So it will leave this here as an A and a B and a C. The only other count that I could imagine here would be wave 1 and 2, and wave 1 and 2 coming down here. But it's a little bit hard to see that really, because the situation here is that it just makes the, where are we here, 50-60%. We're already at the 50-60% here. So it's possible. It's possible, but the thing I don't like about it is that it's quite a big and ugly wave 2. If this was going to be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, then it's quite this is quite big, you know. For against this, it should be a bit smaller. It's possible. I'll just put it there just to remind me that we've spoken about it, but it's a long shot, you know. And coming down, you know, coming down here, we start to overlap the top of this here, which at this scale is a bit of an issue really, you know. So I can say that looking at the iron ore market, looking at BHP and so on, and now looking at copper, it's giving a bearish bias to the market. Now, that said, we now need to gather the evidence. We don't want to be emotional about it, but now we need to gather the evidence and start ticking boxes. So overlapping wave 1 is not a good thing. It could be 1 and 2. Okay, we can play that out as the A, the B, and 5 waves down here for wave thing. And then if that low is taken out here after these 5 waves here, because that will be a little 1 and 2 in here, and that will be the 3rd wave here. So we need about 3 or 4 days in here at least, more to be, you know, 4s and 5s. It could take a week or so to sort that out. We'll see where the US dollar is at that point as well. But taking this low out here, on that after this 5 waves here, that would confirm that we'll be taking that low out here. So a bearish situation for copper and its stocks. So where does that leave nickel? So a bit bearish here. As you know, we've been looking at this as a 3-wave move to the upside. It could have turned bullish, so we just patiently waited for that. That's not going, doesn't look like that's going to be the, I mean, it could be wave 1 up here with an ABC at this point, but probably more likely looking at things that will come down and make a new low here. It's not worth shorting into this big number because it's going to bite us on the ass, and it's going to give us this wave 4 here probably, and then wave 5 down here. So we'll see. We'll know what a short trade setup looks like over here as well. I mean, sure, you can go short here, but I just think you're shorting into trouble here. If you're short already, that's okay. You'd be getting out down here, but getting in here, not going to leave you much to grab at that point. So I think that this is, well, stay on track here with this, where we are. And we'll have a look at the lithium stocks here. So to start on the Chinese stock here, which was down quite a lot, 8%. So we could, I don't know if putting wave 4s there is the right thing to do, but we still need to come down here as talked about before. And the other Chinese stock here, that's also coming down as well here. I think somebody mentioned that their stockpiles in China of iron ore at the steel mills are quite full going into the holidays. So I think they've got oversupply at their mills well, certainly for iron ore anyway. Lithium I don't know much about at all really, in terms of you know, the supply and demand factors of it. So I don't know that, but yeah, we've just been looking at these $250 billion companies here. We've been looking at these moves off. We obviously know that it's in a downtrend. We know that we're in some sort of A, B, and C correction. It doesn't look like a B here, but over on this chart here, the B wave stands out a little bit more. We know that we're in some sort of A, B, C correction here. I still haven't had my time to figure out this here. If anybody's done that work there, please let me know. But I also know too that yes, it can come down further, but really when you think about it, we've been coming down since 2002 here. So we're closer to the end of it than the beginning of it, which is a good thing, you know. So we'll see how that plays out. But let's just have a look at Liontown, see how they're doing here. I mean, it does look toppy over here, doesn't it? So I wouldn't be surprised if it falls back into the 215, ends up at 230 here for this. So just be a bit careful about that. We talked about PLS, so I'll leave it at that, and we'll call it a video at this point. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.